The years 1969 to 1973 were a turning point for the Ford Mustang. After dominating the pony car market, the Mustang entered a new era of fierce rivalry with the Chevrolet Camaro, Pontiac Firebird, and Dodge Challenger. This period gave birth to legendary icons like the Mach 1, Boss 302, and Boss 429, cars that redefined American muscle. But it was also the beginning of challenges: stricter emissions, higher insurance costs, and the looming oil crisis. From the racetrack-dominating Boss 302 to the NASCAR-bred Boss 429, this chapter of Mustang history shows both the glory and struggles of a legend. Join us as we explore how the Mustang balanced raw power, pop culture stardom, and the realities of a changing world. By 1969, the Ford Mustang had already become a cultural phenomenon. But the automotive world was changing fast. Chevrolet had introduced the Camaro, Pontiac had the Firebird, Dodge launched the Challenger, and Plymouth brought in the Barracuda. The Mustang suddenly found itself in the middle of an all-out pony car war. To keep its crown, Ford gave the Mustang a significant redesign for 1969. The car grew longer, wider, and more aggressive. Its new look included quad headlights, a sharper front grille, and muscular body lines. It was still a Mustang, but now it had the presence to compete directly with rivals that were chasing performance and style. This era, 1969 to 1973, became one of the most exciting yet challenging chapters in Mustang history. It introduced legendary performance models, but it also faced the harsh realities of insurance regulations, safety standards, and the looming oil crisis. The performance explosion the late 1960s and early 1970s were all about horsepower. Buyers wanted bigger engines, faster acceleration, and more aggressive styling. Ford responded with a lineup that offered something for everyone. From stylish cruisers to street-ready race cars, Mustang Mach 1 introduced in 1969. The Mach 1 instantly became a hit. With its performance-oriented styling package, shaker hood scoops, rear spoilers, and racing stripes, the Mach 1 looked fast even when parked. Under the hood, buyers could choose anything from a 351 cubic inch V8 up to the legendary 428 Cobra Jet. The Mach 1 became the performance face of the Mustang lineup, outselling even the Shelby versions. Boss 302 to compete in the Trans Am Racing Series, Ford created the Boss 302 Mustang in 1969. It was designed specifically to go head-to-head with the Chevrolet Camaro Z28 on the track. With its high-revving 300 cubic inch V8, race-tuned suspension, and aggressive striping, the Boss 302 wasn't just a marketing gimmick. It was the track weapon. On the streets, it became one of the most balanced performance Mustangs of its era. Boss 429, if the Boss 302 was Ford's road racing machine, the Boss 429 was the drag strip monster, built to homologate Ford's 429 cubic inch engine for NASCAR. The Boss 429 was essentially hand-built. Each car was shipped to Carcraft in Michigan for modifications, so the massive engine could fit. With around 375 horsepower and a rated on paper and nearly 500 pounds-ft of torque, the Boss 429 became one of the most collectible Mustangs ever made. Shelby Mustangs, 1969-1970. Carroll Shelby's influence continued. But by 1969, the Shelby Mustangs were becoming more luxury-oriented than raw performance machines. Models like the GT350 and GT500 carried unique styling, including elongated bodies, scoops, and stripes. However, sales began to slow, and by 1970, the Shelby Mustang program came to an end. Mustang in the early 70s. By 1971, the Mustang underwent another redesign, becoming even larger and heavier. The 1971-1973 Mustangs were the biggest of the first generation, sometimes referred to as the Big Mustangs. The 1971 Mustang Mach 1 could be equipped with the massive 429 Cobra Jet or Super Cobra Jet engines, making it one of the most powerful Mustangs ever. But as the car grew in size, critics argued it was losing the nimbleness that made the early Mustang so special. By 1970 to 1973, the muscle car era was starting to fade. Rising insurance rates, new emission regulations, and the looming oil crisis forced manufacturers to reduce horsepower and performance. High compression engines were detuned, and power ratings dropped dramatically. The once fearsome Mach 1 was now more about looks than outright performance. Pop culture and legacy. Even as regulations hurt performance, the Mustang remained a pop culture star. It continued appearing in movies, TV shows, and magazines. Owners loved customizing their cars, and the Mustang community only grew stronger. The 1969 1970 Boss models became instant legends, while the 1971 1973 Mustangs developed a cult following for their bold, muscular looks. Though heavier, they represented the last of the true first-generation muscle Mustangs before the industry shifted towards smaller, fuel-efficient cars. Mustang timeline: 1969-1973-1969. Major redesign: introduction of Mach 1, Boss 302, Boss 429. Shelby Mustangs became larger and more luxurious. 1970. Styling updates: last year of the Shelby Mustang, Boss 302 and Boss 429 continued. 1971. Another redesign: Mustang grew in size. Mach 1 remained popular. 429 Cobra Jet engines available. 1972. Reduced engine performance due to emissions regulations. Boss models discontinued. 1973. Final year of the first generation. Styling updates: lower horsepower. Mustang prepared to enter a new era with the upcoming downsized Mustang 2. Cultural rivalries: this era also intensified the Mustang's battle with its rivals. The Camaro Z28, Firebird Trans Am, and Dodge Challenger all tried to dethrone the Mustang on the racetrack. The Boss 300 proved Ford's engineering strength, while on the streets, the Mach 1 and Boss 429 fought to keep Ford's muscle car dominance alive. The rivalry with Chevrolet Camaro in particular defined the pony car wars, each year pushing both manufacturers to innovate faster, add more power, and capture more enthusiasts. The end of the first generation. By the end of 1973, the first generation Mustang had run its course. What started in 1964 as a sleek, affordable sports car had grown into a massive, muscle-bound machine. While sales remained respectable, the world was changing. Fuel prices were rising, regulations were tightening, and consumer tastes were shifting. The Mustang's next chapter, the Mustang to 1974 to 1978, would take a very different approach, focusing on economy and compact size. But the legacy of the first generation was undeniable. From the humble 1964.5 model to the fire-breathing Boss 429, the first-generation Mustang became one of the most iconic American cars ever built. Closing thoughts on part of the years 1969 to 1973 marked the peak and turning point of the Mustang's first generation, with legendary models like the Mach 1, Boss 302, and Boss 429. Ford proved it could dominate both racetracks and drag strips. Yet, the growing pressures of the early 1970s foreshadowed the end of the golden muscle car era.